Hey, welcome everybody. I hope you can see me a little bit. I know I'm in the shadows here. I have horrible lighting at my current location. I'm Aaron Palmer, Director of Central Europe for RAIN International, and we're going to have a very special health seminar today, or health webinar today, hosted and run by none other than our very own Dr. Zita Csomai, one of our Scientific Advisory Board members, one of our newest. And for those of you that were able to join us a couple of weeks ago as we introduced Dr. Csomai, I'll just take a couple of minutes and introduce her again to those of you who weren't available last time. She is probably one of the most premier authorities on holistic medicine in Hungary, very much in demand as a speaker, both with the TV morning programs, and she does so much in this realm. She graduated from Semmelweis University, one of the most prestigious medical universities within Central Europe and all of Europe, and she's actually in charge of both training and testing those MDs in Hungary who want to add the holistic certificate to their repertoire. So there's just very few people, I think, more knowledgeable than her in this area. And we're very, very grateful to have her as very much a seed nutrition enthusiast and a fan of our products. And I'm excited to invite her on today to talk to you guys about the current health situation with the coronavirus and what we can do to better monitor and watch our health. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Zita Csomai. Hi, Zita. Well, I'm going to give you the floor.
Hello, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, whoever watching. But I would like to talk a little bit about the coronavirus situation, but not in the way you see on the TV. It would be rather a holistic approach, what we can do and how we can actually stay healthy and how we can survive in a good condition. The first thing I would like to say that this presentation is only for your information, for personal use. We not advise no one to do diagnosis or treatment for any medical condition. Actually, this is the doctor's job. What we do is to give information how you can make yourself be better and more healthier in this world. Very little bit about the coronavirus, which is the disease called COVID-19. Most of you, I believe, know by now that the symptoms is very high fever, muscle pain, and this muscle pain is something really, really strong. Most of the patients talk about that this is some kind of pain that you never felt before in your life. It goes into deep in the spine, and it's most of the patients need to take some kind of medications for painkillers because this pain is something really, really strong. Also, the cough and the breathing difficulties, which is like the shortness of breath, but it's not really the shortness of breath, it's more like the lack of the oxygen. And in the newest research show that it's really the oxygen that's somehow missing from the body by this virus, and this virus really like the areas in the body when you don't have enough oxygen. So that's why if somebody have chronic disease like heart disease or chronic lung conditions, they have less oxygen in the body, so that's why they can feel this more serious. Also, the patients say that they have to breathe faster, and that makes them really tired. And also these dry symptoms, when the patient talk about that they were really, really thirsty, they had to drink lots of water, the sore throat is really dry, and the lung, what they cough is really dry. And also this, that you can't smell, the loss of scent could be one of the symptoms. But of course, just having these symptoms, you can't really say that I have coronavirus or not. You have to have a laboratory test because otherwise you can feel these symptoms. They did some research that psychology research that if you put patients or just single people in a room and you tell them that two of them have the virus, test positive, like 4 will experience the symptoms. So when you hear them every day in the TV, you might experience some symptoms. It depends on the mind how we approach this. On this slide, you can see what is the difference, how you can differentiate between a common cold or allergies with itchy eyes, snuffy nose, sneezing, lots of fluid coming from the airways. This is mainly for the common cold or the allergies. For the viruses, the real flu and the coronavirus, the fatigue, the high fever, body aches all over the body, the cough, and the patient really in a bad condition. For the coronavirus, or as I already said before, the shortness of breath, the loss of scent, and also before we could say the history of travel, but really now the virus is all over the place. We know that there is a population who's in high risk, and we talk about them a lot: the elderly people, the autoimmune disease, the chronic illnesses, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer patients, and we could go on with other kind of medical conditions. And if you look at all of these, we can say, oh yeah, they're old and sick and what we expect. But if we look at all of these groups of people, there is one thing that's common in all of these. And first thing is that these people don't have enough vitamins and minerals in the body. I am looking this strongly for 15, 20 years now, that as the age goes, as somebody get older, in the body, the vitamins and the minerals is getting less and less, and that's about how this chronic disease appear. And if you look at all over the world, these diseases come forward by the age. Like when I was going to the university, we said like the heart problems comes above 60. The second type of diabetes comes about around the age of 60. And now all these came up to 40, 45. And sometimes we see people with these conditions even younger ages. And what I find that in the food what we eat, there is not enough, and not only the vitamins, but mainly the minerals that's missing. And you cannot get it other ways than get some kind of supplements. When the minerals missing from the body, you have to know that the minerals is like a positive charge, let's say molecule inside the cell. And if you miss these positive charge, then the cell is getting out of the balance. It's going to go to a minus, a negative state, and it goes around and need to get something that has a positive charge. And what we have is the heavy metals. Everywhere we have heavy metal pollution. Think about the mercury, arsenium, cadmium, aluminium. Aluminium is not a heavy metal, but in the body it behaves like a heavy metal. So when you have the missing minerals, these heavy metals get into the body, which is basically stopping the cells to work good. And why the heavy metals are not really good for us, and how it comes to this topic again, that viruses, not only the coronavirus, but the chronic viruses, they really like this environment. When the cells not working good, there is not good minerals, we have the heavy metals, and the viruses can grow and live there really good. So we don't like the heavy metals in the body, but I will get back to this topic a little bit later. And also, most of the people all over the world eat pre-cooked food, junk food, and it's lots of toxic material get into the body, which is hard to get rid of. And if your liver function, if your lymphatic system not working really good, then basically these toxins, they just stay inside the cells, they stay inside the lymphatic tissues, and the body just cannot get rid of them. Also, if you look at the autoimmune disease and the cancer patients, but all diabetes, most of these conditions that we talked before, most of these patients have some kind of chronic virus infections, the Epstein-Barr virus or the cytomegalovirus or the herpes viruses, which the patient don't know about it, but the virus live inside the body and basically create a chronic inflammation, create a kind of immune answer for these viruses, which goes into the next 3 steps: the chronic inflammation, allergies and leaky gut with the cross allergies. They have the same kind of antigens, and also the adrenal fatigue, which in the old times it said adrenal fatigue comes from long time stress, but we see lots of people, for example, and I put it in the bracket, the role of the essential fatty acids. If we don't have enough fatty acids, the adrenal gland cannot work properly. And the adrenal gland is one of the key for the whole hormone system. And if you don't have a good adrenal gland, the whole hormone system will collapse. And the next step will be the immune system collapse. So if you don't have good essential fatty acids to support and to create the hormones from the adrenal gland, which is the cortisol, this is the kind of stress hormone, then after a while, the adrenal gland will get tired, not working good, and it will go up and will affect your thyroid gland, which is basically runs the whole body, and also it will affect the pancreas, which is the insulin production for the diabetes, and also it will affect all the reproductive hormones. So this is one key element when we look at all these viruses, all these conditions, these chronic conditions, that if a patient, if a person infected by the coronavirus and already have the lack of the minerals, already have lots of heavy metals, not enough vitamins, the body cannot function good, how do we expect to fight against a really serious virus like the coronavirus? So what we need to do is to make the body basically strong, have a good, strong immune system to put ourselves in a good condition. And of course, this virus is very virulent, which means it spread very fast from person to person and can infect the healthy ones too, but you don't have these serious symptoms. So it is important to obey all the preventive measures, to stay home, to wash your hands, to use the mask if you go out with other people. So that's very important. And don't get contact with sick people, and disinfect your hand, of course. But what we would like to more focus on, how you can make your immune system stronger, how you can put your body in a good condition. And also, we know there are some antiviral products, there are some natural products that can stop the growth of the viruses. There's a very interesting thing about the viruses. The virus cannot replicate without the body. So, for example, the human viruses, we need the human body for this virus to replicate. And if the human body is good, then the virus cannot replicate. The virus won't duplicate itself on the table. It has to have a human cell. This is on a picture. You can see the immune system cells, and on the monitor on the right side, the granulocytes, they fight against the bacteria, and the left side, the lymphocytes, they fight against the viruses. And it's a big long chain. It's like a series of actions that one recognizes, the other one help, and then the memory cells, they memorize, and any other time this virus comes along, it produces those immunoglobulins that will actually kill the viruses. And also, not really here for the coronavirus, but I always like to talk about in the middle, you can see the natural killer cells. They're the ones who fight against the cancer cells. They find in the body where is the cancer cells, they identify and kills these cancer cells. But if your body, if the immune system not working good, of course, it won't fight against the cancer either. On this other picture, this is like a more close-up photo of these little cells. And the next one is the red blood cells, which transport, where they carry the oxygen in the blood, the oxygen attached to the hemoglobin, and it carried to all of our cells. These little tiny cells, they can go anywhere in the body and provide oxygen. And as I told you before, the coronavirus affects the oxygen transport, and also what we see from the lab results from the patients, that the red blood cells, the number of the red blood cells decrease. So these patients become anemic, which even make their condition worse. And in this case, if we start to give them iron products for the anemia, because that's what we know, that if somebody don't have enough red blood cells, we need to give them iron, basically we will feed the virus. And it's not really good, so we need to make something that helps the oxygen transportation in the body rather than feed the virus with iron. And of course, we get to the main point, what we can do: eat healthy. It's very easy to say, but when people locked up in their houses and you cannot go only once a week to do shopping, you cannot really buy the fresh products and say to make fresh salad and make fresh food every day. Keep relaxed, because stress is not good for your immune system. But when people are losing their jobs and the virus is around, the fear is around, it's really hard to say to people to keep relaxed. So we know it's not a good way to approach. What we can do, what I already said, boost the immune system, take antiviral products. I will show you some of these, and also increase the blood flow and the oxygen level in the body. And I would like to talk to you about a very special thing. It's the black cumin seed. The Latin name is Nigella sativa. And the reason why I put down the Latin name, because in scientific research, they use the Latin name, the Nigella sativa. So if you want to go on medical or scientific research, this is what you need to look at. We know the black cumin seed is a traditional medicine in many countries, and it's already, not this year, long time ago, been tested and proved antiviral against the cytomegalovirus, the Epstein-Barr virus, and other virus infections, which was not came up just because of the coronavirus, but it's been tested much like 25 years ago. And you can find scientific research which shows that the black cumin seed is one of those agents that actually can kill the viruses. Always when we talk about this in the natural medicine way, they want to have the evidence-based medicine. There are not so many research with the natural products because of the money. Obviously, in the pharmaceutical companies has much more money. But I found one very new research. It's about the coronavirus, and I put it down here. If you want, you can download in the PDF and you can read it yourself. But I found in this research is something really interesting. They were looking at especially the coronavirus, and how the black cumin seed compare with the medication what they use for the hospital patients. On the left side, I show it with this arrow. On this side, you can see those pharmaceutical compounds, the medications, what they're trying and what they're using, what they're testing, basically, because it's like a testing phase for the coronavirus. And in this table, you can see which kind of ingredients they already identify in the black cumin seed. And as you can see here, it's lots of different kind of molecules you can see on the right side. And that's something why you cannot say that the black cumin is medicine, because it's so many active ingredients in it. And it's like a beautiful, we call it phytomatrix, that these compounds make each other's work even stronger and make it better to work. But what I would like to outline for you, I don't want to do a chemistry lesson here, but if you see the chloroquine up here, the first one, this is one of the products, the anti-malaria products they're trying to use all over the world for the coronavirus patients. And if you look at the nigellidine, this is the compound in the black cumin seed. The structure is very similar, and they tested in this research how stronger or weaker these compounds, and they found that the chloroquine is just a slightly higher antiviral effect than the nigellidine in the black cumin seed. It is just a very, very tiny little bit of difference. But the next compound, the hydrochloroquine, it has a little bit different structure, very close, very similar to the chloroquine. And what they found is very interesting, that the black cumin seed, nigellidine, has a stronger antiviral effect than the chloroquine. So in this research, basically, that's what they found, that the black cumin seed is between these two very strong medication by killing these viruses. And also what they look at, this very complicated molecule, the erythromycin, which is in the black cumin seed, the alpha heterin, very similar. If you look at, usually if you look at these in a 3D picture, you can see these structures, they're very similar, and they actually, these two parts here, the nigellidine and the alpha heterin, it joined to the same, exactly the same part of the virus than all these other medications, but they're looking at the pharmaceutical companies. So it actually acts exactly the same site as where all the other medications, which is, I think it's really, really exciting. And if we look at all the other beneficial effects of the black cumin seed, and we know that you can use this as preventive measures, and most of the time you have like about 2 weeks of the period when you can already have the infection, but you don't know about it, you can spread the virus around. But if you take the black cumin seed, these ingredients, they clinically proven, get attached to the virus, and we're talking about the coronavirus now, and basically can destroy the virus before it would spread around the body. And I find it really fascinating. Of course, this research is ongoing. This part already been published, but all the other scientific research is still going on, and they're still trying to find other proofs and other ways how we can use this better. But when we have a product which contains the black cumin seed, we can use it to ourselves to stay healthy and basically keep the viruses away from our body. Also, what we know, it has a very strong antiseptic and anti-inflammatory effect. And what is important that the coronavirus, but not only the coronavirus, other viruses like to go to the places when in the body we have inflammation. So if you have a chronic inflammation, knee pain, back pain, or any kind of inflammation which comes from a long time, the virus will find these places. But if you take the black cumin seed and some other products which decrease basically this inflammation, then the virus don't have this good environment to live off, so you can do something good to yourself. Also, it have a very strong antioxidant effect, and you can see the thymoquinone, and also we know the unsaturated fatty acids, which I already talked about, that it's really important for the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland is nearly the first one which will be affected by the virus. And I outlined with this red that the black cumin seed helps the lung and also decrease the number and the severity of the asthmatic attacks, which is important because we know that asthmatic patient also in the high risk category for the virus. And if you have a product that can decrease the number and the severity of these attacks, then basically we again can do something against the virus. Another ingredient I would like to talk to you about, the black raspberry seed, which is, we know it has a extremely high ORAC value if we compare to other foods. So it's a very strong antioxidant, also anti-inflammatory, also decrease the inflammation, and protects the vasoprotective properties, means that protects the vessels, the blood vessels. We see in the newer data that now they said there is another sign for the coronavirus, that the patient has small like bleedings around the toenails, around their foot, and these small bleedings come from that these small vessels, the blood vessels, basically break from this virus. And also some patients reported that they had in their calf, they had blood, they cough up blood, also because these small vessels, they break. The black raspberry seed, and also what I don't talk about, the grape seeds, they protect the blood vessels. So it is again to protect your body. And also, this is not really comes here for the virus, but they good to improve the vision, the cardiovascular health, the memory retention in old age, and also the black raspberry seeds and also the grape seeds help to reduce the risk of hypertension. And we know that the hypertension is a high risk again for the coronavirus, because those ACE2 receptors in the lung, if somebody have hypertension, the number of these receptors increase. And when you have lots of these receptors, the virus attached to these ACE2 receptors in the cells and can infect faster than if you don't have many of these receptors. Black cumin seed, black raspberry seed, grape seed, we can say that clinically proven to kill the viruses and also help your body to decrease the inflammation and also keep healthy and stay in a good condition, because they help the circulation, they help your lung, and also they help to get rid of these viruses. But if it wouldn't be enough, we go on a little bit and we talk about some other products I told you at the beginning that all these chronic disease, they combine with toxic materials in the body, the missing vitamins and the missing minerals in the body. And what makes the detox in the body is the liver. And right now we see in the Western societies, the liver has so much toxic material, and basically through this, it's secondary usually to have a high blood pressure, because what you see that if the liver got lots of things inside, the circulation, the blood flow will not go really good. So we're looking for something that helps the liver, and the strongest thing to help the liver is the milk thistle seed, which is a medical herb since the 19th century. But if you look at back in the old phytotherapy books, we can find lots of long time writings and things about the milk thistle seeds. What it contains is silymarin, which is the strongest detox agent for the liver. And it's very strong that they already made medicine, IV medicine, and also tablets. So if you go to the pharmacy, you can buy silymarin. They sometimes give it to patients who had chemotherapy, and they basically try to reduce the side effects of the chemotherapy or other medical treatments by the silymarin. So they know in the medical field also that it's really good to help your liver function. And not only detox, but also regenerate the liver function, which means if somebody had a really bad liver function, the liver couldn't really work really good, if you start giving them the milk thistle seed, the liver cells basically regenerate, and they basically getting renewed cells again. And then we look at the cranberry seed oil, which is very highly rich in vitamins, minerals, flavonoids, which means you can put back all the missing vitamins and minerals to the body. It has a strong antioxidant and also anti-aging effect. And what the cranberry seed oil usually used for is the urinary tract infections, because it's clinically proven that it stops the E. coli adhesion to the urinary tract infection, urinary tract wall cells, and basically the bacteria cannot stuck to the cells and basically cannot do infection, which is very important because this was the only one they look at, but could be the cranberry seed oil helpful in other bacterial infections also, but they haven't done research. If somebody got a chronic bacterial infection, it also can be like basically causing other conditions, medical conditions. So we're not only focusing on the viruses, but we like to get rid of the not wanted bacteria of the body also. But we want to keep the good bacteria, which they live in our bowels. We want to keep those, but we don't want the bacteria other places where they're not supposed to be. And the chlorella, spirulina, the two algae, which we know that they contain lots of good minerals. And it is important where they come from, because if you just go to the sea and get these algae out of the sea, you will find lots of toxic heavy metals in these algae. Back in 1991, 1993, I lived in the UK, and we did a research it was called Fucus serratus. It's a kind of algae lived in the sea, and we look at the heavy metal contained in the algae, and what we found, some of the heavy metals, like the cadmium, was 8,000 times more in the plant than in the water. So what these two algae, the chlorella and the spirulina, do, they collect all the heavy metals from their environment. If you get a good form of the chlorella, and I see the rain papers, they come from organic farming, so it's proof. I think everybody can see these papers. It's proof it's organic farming, so you can be sure that the product itself does not contain, and actually they do check for the heavy metals, the products as well. But when it gets to your body, what it do, these algae have lots of minerals, and they're very happy to give it to you. So they give all these minerals to your body, and they take away the heavy metals from your body. So it is something amazing that how these work. The chlorella is able to take out from the cells inside. The spirulina collects from the blood and the bowel, so outside of the cell. But these two together basically do I don't know, it's something amazing effort to help your body to get rid of these toxic heavy metals. And as I already said, the viruses loves this heavy metal environment. And Ricsike, könyörgöm, menjek, kérlek. Ricsi, kérlek. I'm sorry, it's just my kid came inside. I'm sorry. So Ricsike, the viruses like this heavy metal environment, and if your body is in full of these heavy metals, basically it will be really hard to get rid of the viruses from the body. It's not only the coronavirus, but I mentioned you before the Epstein-Barr virus and the cytomegaloviruses. They very strongly connected with the autoimmune disease, the Hashimoto thyroid disease, diabetes, and also autism in children, Alzheimer's disease, and the multiple sclerosis. So lots of these chronic illnesses, we already find the proof that these conditions strongly connected with the viruses, and also the cancer, which lots of people are so afraid of the cancer, but every cancer patient have chronic virus infection and lots of heavy metals in the body. So this is one of the most important thing I'm fighting for all my life, to get rid of these viruses and also detox the body from the heavy metals, because as long as you have these heavy metals in the body, then you cannot work good. Your body won't be able to work good. So these two, the chlorella and the spirulina, can help us to get rid of the heavy metals, and this is something really good. And the wheatgrass, nowadays lots of people are talking about the gluten. It's not good to take gluten, and the gluten is harmful for your body if you don't like the gluten in the body. But the wheatgrass is the green part. It don't have gluten inside, but it's basically thousands of active phytochemicals, lots of minerals, what your body needs. Your body just starving for these minerals. And also the chlorophyll. The chlorophyll have magnesium inside, which is the most important intracellular, that means inside the cell, positive ion. And the magnesium is one of the strongest ones that helps you to fight against the heavy metals. And also the chlorophyll, that's the material in the plants that make the oxygen. And they did some research. If somebody take lots of chlorophyll in the body, it can produce inside the body some oxygen. And I told you that these viruses, they like the environment when you don't have enough oxygen. If you provide lots of oxygen to the body, then the viruses won't like this environment. So the chlorophyll to take inside is really good in two ways. It takes away the heavy metals, so the environment where the virus lives, you basically don't have a house for the viruses, and also it helps the oxygen level in the body. And I look at many ways. I always look at people in holistic and the whole medication in holistic way. In the spiritual level, the wheatgrass shows that even in the hardest times and situations, there is a solution and always there is a way out. I think nowadays lots of people would need this message on the spiritual way. So it's really good to take as much wheatgrass as we can, because it helps on an energetic or the spiritual way to make our body stronger, that we'll be over this and we'll find a solution, and there is a way out of this situation. I already talked about the chlorophyll, which we just call green blood. Actually, the chemical structure of the chlorophyll is very similar to the hemoglobin in our red blood cells. So the two is very similar, except for the chlorophyll have the magnesium inside and the hemoglobin have iron inside. What the chlorophyll do in this high magnesium content helps to get rid of the heavy metals and all the toxic material, energize your body, renew the cells, and also, as I already told you, provide the oxygen. Why is it important to emphasize that high in magnesium? In my patients, what I find that everybody is basically having a lack of magnesium. And you have to know that the magnesium have more than 600 roles in the body: enzymes, hormones, cell functions, the ATP, which makes the energy for your body. If you don't have magnesium, the ATP don't work. The vitamin D, we haven't talked about the vitamin D, but it's one of the strongest things to help fight against the viruses inside the body. But if you don't have enough magnesium, you can take as much vitamin D as you want. It won't be active. It won't work. The vitamin D only works if you have magnesium. If you have blood sugar problems, the insulin don't work without the magnesium. So you need to have lots of magnesium in the body, and what we see is basically never enough. So to take chlorophyll and other kind of green products is always good, and it always helps you. So getting close to the end, how we can stay healthy. The main point is, and it's not only for the coronavirus, but also for all kind of conditions, the body, I always find the human body is amazing. It can basically do anything if you have enough vitamins and minerals in the body. If you give these two things to the body, it basically can recover from anything. But most of the time the people don't eat right, and we by the aging find out that there is not enough vitamins and not enough minerals in the body. But if you eat right and using superfoods like the black cumin seed and food supplements, you can provide enough vitamins and minerals to the body. And when the people asking what if we overdose, usually you don't see reports about people dying from mineral or vitamin overloads, or people die from overloading apples or green salads. But you can find lots of clinical proof that the people get sick and dying from not having enough vitamins and minerals. What also we can do take herbs and which clinically proved to be effective against the viruses, like the black cumin seed. We know it's a very strong, very powerful product. We see it's basically as strong as the medications they're trying in the hospitals. It's important to detox your body, help your liver to work good, and try to get rid of the heavy metals. The liver function can be strengthened by the milk thistle seeds and the chlorella, spirulina, and the chlorophyll and the other green stuff helps with the detox of the heavy metals. And also have as much oxygen as possible. The chlorophyll and also the wheatgrass or the chlorella, but you can help the body with the oxygen if you exercise, if you can go outside and do some exercise outside, do breathing exercises. So make sure you always overflow your body with oxygen. And if you want to put together for prevention and additional treatment, and it's important, it's additional treatment. If somebody got pneumonia, very high fever, or any other kind of disease, you have to go to the doctor and see the doctor, get medical treatment. But next to the medical treatment, you can take these wonderful supplements, and it will make your recovery shorter. It will help you to recover faster and get back to life in a shorter time. So we never say that avoid what the doctor do, because it would be stupid to say. But when we're talking about prevention, and also whatever the doctor give you and additional to the doctor's treatment, you can make your body recover better with these supplements. And of course, these times maybe you take more, but usually the patients feel that you know, if they take more, they recover faster. And the last, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I wish everybody good health and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Zita. Make sure I got my microphone back. Thank you, Dr. Csomai, for the amazing presentation. I learned a lot too today. Fantastic to listen to that was new to me, the new research that's going on with how black cumin also affects the spread of some of these viral loads. So that's incredible. So I want to thank you.
I'm sorry about my kid come inside.
That's cute. I love it. I love it. I love it. I actually moved to a hotel for the day since the power was out at our office. They're doing some work on the block. And so I have no issues at all with people coming in here, but it's funny, it's cute when our families get in the way. I think everybody who's been spending time at home recently during this quarantine period has similar stories, so that's fantastic. Again, thank you, Dr. Csomai, for the incredible presentation. Everyone else, thank you for joining today. I just want to give a reminder out to all of our RAIN partners throughout Central Europe. We're very excited to have Dr. Csomai with us to help us do more in English for those members of our 15 nations here in Central Europe, and frankly for all of RAIN Nation who wants to participate. We're very, very happy and lucky to have her involved. For those of you that, just as a reminder, we do have almost every day, we have trainings going on in both the business side of RAIN and also the health side, virtually every day. Usually at 6 p.m. on alternate days, we do opportunity meetings and health presentations in Hungarian, Romanian, and Serbo-Croatian languages. And then we have elements training on Saturday. So please, for more information on that, just continue to check our events page and schedule on Facebook for the RAIN International Central Europe page. You'll see all that information there. And again, thank you, Dr. Csomai, for your incredibly informative presentation today. We look forward to hearing from you so much more in the future as well. Thank you, everybody. RAIN Nation, stay safe. I can't say that everybody will have a good as view as me from your quarantine, but for at least 24 hours, I am loving my amazing view here in the beautiful city of Budapest. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.